It's Friday, Feedback Friday, the feedbackiest day of the week. Ha! Feedback Friday. Welcome. I'm back. It's been like over a week. What? I don't remember the last time I missed this much YouTubing. But I was at PAX. PAX is sort of PAX. And it was an interesting time. It was not at all what I expected it to be. But the most important thing, Corey and Lori Cole, the creators of the Quest for Glory games, Hero U, a bunch of other games in the upcoming summer days. They are amazing people. They are some of the most open and caring and appreciative and just really smart about how to make games, both from the actual like practical standpoints of the business of it, because they've just been doing it so long, but also like the actual like philosophy of game design stuff that I had a few like conversations that were lengthy enough that I it was sort of media. I would have talked to them much longer, but they're wonderful folks, and they have some stuff coming down that I've said I'll help them with. So stay tuned for announcements on that. I'll talk more about it. I still owe the Patreons a video for the week, kind of a behind the scenes thing. Is this going to work? Yay! Okay, this part at OBS I managed to fix. So if you want to get more sort of behind the scenes stuff on PAX, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK. I'm going to be steering more like revenue stuff towards Patreon and Twitch now, just because YouTube is terrible for allowing you to monetize videos of substance. And this is still a Feedback Friday, even though I didn't have videos up. People were talking to me. People were letting me know on some stuff. And because things got so heavy on multiple accounts, I wanted to do something sort of uplifting instead of just do the drama thing and saying what I think. You know, there's been a lot of people who have been like taking a break or quitting Twitter, and then, you know, the utterly tragic death by suicide of Night in the Woods co-creator Alex Holowka. Did I get that right? You know, I admit I'm not a Night in the Woods fan, but that. You can care about people as people, right? Even if you accept that, like, even his own family says he did some bad things before he got help. And that's what I want to talk about, because talking about, you have to be very careful publicizing when someone dies by suicide. A lot of people are afraid to talk about it. There are best practices that often aren't followed. A lot of the coverage in the games press didn't follow best practices. They sort of did the letter of it, but not the spirit of it. And so I want to do a bit of cleanup in that regard and talk about, we're not going to get into the details because, you know, plenty of people go through horrendous stuff and don't either take that step or don't succeed in that step. There are people around them to support them and make sure that they don't, they don't fall into that dark place. And you guys know mental health is very important to me. And I had a conversation with someone who's one of these people who they were sort of a friend, and then you meet them and they become like a friend too. But I was talking to him about the difference between self-esteem and self-compassion. And that self-compassion thing is really misunderstood and profoundly overlooked. We talk about self-esteem. Self-esteem without self-compassion can set you up for a really big crash when you're not good at something or you do a bad thing. Self-esteem is knowing what you're good at, right? Knowing that you have things that you can do that are of value. You're smart, you're kind, you're, these inherently good things. You can recognize that about yourself and still be so critical of yourself, that they don't save you from the black pits of despair, right? And that self-compassion thing is so critical. And unfortunately, with highly intelligent, creative people, it's not taught because everybody's so striving for excellence, so driven for excellence, be number one, optimize your potential. You know what? Sometimes you can't give something your best, right? I had to. We did this show at a Sierra alumni party where we did a 17-minute, me and you guys know, who've watched this my channel, my song parody collaborator, Mouse Mary Jest, he and I did this parody song, 17 minutes medley, all of the Quest games with cameos from the LucasArts games, and we did a little cameo of the Dark Crystal and Mixed Up Mother Goose. I woke up that morning with no voice, and I was like, oh crap. And Mouse, fortunately, is an opera singer, and he taught me every trick in the book. I learned so much from this. He's like, stop panicking. If you panic, you're gonna tense, and then you'll crack. And it's weird because I was so concerned about the big notes. At one point, I had to belt a version of Thriller, but it was Phantasmagoria. I'm not going to do it now because I haven't warmed up. But that was the hardest note I had to hit. I hit that note. No problem. I hit all the falsettos in Gabriel Knight to the tune of Oh What a Night. But little throwaway lines on like the Police Quest part, I cracked. And the whole ABBA bit, I was way out of key because I couldn't hear. But nobody cared. It was all so crazy and spontaneous. And I said at the beginning, I have a lack of voice, so I apologize if I crack in advance. But that's the difference between live performance and studio performance. In live performance, you don't have to hit every note. You can show you can hit the notes, which I did. I still don't know how I did that. I leave that all up to Mouse. The guy, he keeps saying, I'm a very impatient teacher. I'm not a good teacher. It's like, I don't care. He taught me. But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have found it. I got like a crash course in like crazy good singing technique. But see, the difference between self-esteem and self-compassion is self-esteem is I know I can hit these notes. Self-compassion is, well, I didn't hit all of them, but I hit the big ones. And you know what? People liked it. And that's all that matters. And perfectionists, people who have a very high degree of quality in their stuff, they can really be hard on themselves and focus on the missed notes instead of the ones you hit. And there are still parts, I looked at the tape because I wanted to show my husband, and there were parts I was like, oh, that's way off. But then it's like, oh, okay, that was pretty good. And self-compassion is choosing to focus on the things you did that are pretty good as opposed to dwelling on the mistakes. And I know lots of you are not good at that. That was a little Beelzebub there. But I didn't used to be good at it either. And that's why self-compassion is such, it's like the most critical part of mental health that we spend no time on because it gets lumped in with self-esteem, and self-esteem is not the same thing. So if you're going through a bad time right now, and I know some of you are, you guys are very open with what's going on and sharing. And I know we lost a few very cool Patreon supporters due to financial stuff. I hope they can come back when they can because they're good people. And I hope anybody who's watching this, like, don't think you can't come around and like participate in comments, participate in Twitch. Like, stuff happens, right? Like, that's the thing. Everybody goes through bad times. I appreciate when people do Patreon. I don't get pissed off when they leave because people have to take care of themselves first. But I hope they do stay around, or they're just taking a break from social media for their own well-being. But yeah, I do hope some of them come back because they're really good people, and I really like their presence. They contributed stuff that wasn't monetary. This self-compassion thing, I'll try to work it more into my content. YouTube is probably going to demonetize this because of the topic, but I'm going to go further than the typical, if you are feeling down, call a crisis hotline, call this, call that, like, you are not alone, all those platitudes, right? I'm going to go deeper and actually give you some functional stuff, because I know for me, before I stumbled my way through this, I was like, how do I do this? How do I do this? Even when the most terrible thing out there happens to you and you feel like the only thing you can control is whether or not you're still breathing, flip the script on that. Like, change the frame. You can control how you react to it. You can control how you behave moving forward. And yeah, those two things are much easier than just cutting everything off. But if you decide to take a drastic step, you're cutting yourself off from the good as well as the bad that's going to happen to you in future. And some things happen in your life that you feel like you can never see the good again. And you don't believe people when they say it's temporary, because things really hurt. Like, I know people who are going through some tough stuff. I mean, I'm going through some tough stuff right now. I got some health news about family members that I'm not going to talk about. I'm not ready to talk about yet. I will eventually, but I got it like right when I came back from PAX, and it was like, wow. And this is why I'm not talking about it, because I'm still processing. When I find the frame, when I find the story I like about it, when I find the narrative for me that is going to put it in the most positive light and allow me to do stuff without being a complete disaster she-beast, then I'll talk about it. Because that's what I can control. And that's my power, and that's my agency, and that's what's good for me. And quite frankly, that's what's good for everybody around me, because being out of control doesn't help anybody. But it is amazing how important the stories you tell about yourself are, and the stories you tell to yourself. And so when you start catastrophizing and you go to that dark place, find another story. Tell yourself another story. I mean, for me, it was the God of War games. I know everybody's like, how can God of War possibly be uplifting? The old school, like blood and guts things. That's a deep well for me, but just the various metaphors for trauma that I took from those games really helped. You know, it may sound cracked to anybody else, but it worked for me. And as long as it works for you, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Everyone watching this channel right now, even people who don't like me, even people I've had beef with, even people I've had spats with, if you think I said something mean to you on Twitter, still, this applies to you. You deserve to be here. You deserve to be on this earth. And it's always better to just fight on another day. I know some of you won't believe that. But as long as you've got another day, there's possibility. If you end those possibilities, you're denying yourself another chance, and you deserve another chance. So most cities have 24-hour crisis hotlines. Please call them. You're going to think it's weird. It's not. They're trained. There are better ones than others, but they're trained. Even reach out to, like, people have reached out to me on Twitter DMs, and they don't know me from anything, but I just have this talent for people telling me their life story. Someone like me will not reject you, okay? We may not have time to super duper listen, but we care. Like, and ask other commenters. Like, we talk on this channel. If you're like a regular person here, you come to Twitch and you say you're having a bad day, people care. So please, like, join us for the Twitch chats, okay? Like, people have admitted they're having bad days, or they're going through a bad time, or they just had a rough breakup, or, you know, a person they like didn't like them back. And it's a very supportive environment. So, you know, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling like you're coming to the end of your road, like, just please reach out and come and be a person and give yourself the chance to see that people who don't know what, you know, where you've come from, care about who you are now, right? Because you can't change your past. You can't. You can only change what you do today and tomorrow and the day after. That's all you can control. And self-compassion means, yeah, I did bad things in the past. I don't want to repeat them. I'm not going to repeat them. I want to learn from them. But the things I do are not who I am. You know, I don't want to hurt people. Not anymore anyway. And take that and move forward. Don't do something you can't take back. Okay? Like, you guys, regular commenters and people who will become regular commenters, you guys mean a lot to me, just as people. You don't have to do anything fantastic, you know. You don't have to do anything grand or that makes you famous. Trust me, being famous is not all it's cracked up to be. You don't have to do any of that stuff to matter. I know the world tells you that you do, but you don't. You know, supporting a creator like myself is really important. You guys matter a lot. Like all of you, even the ones that don't like me. And I hope you can tell I truly believe that. So I'm going to leave it there. That's my feedback for the week. We will resume regular scheduling. I don't know if you can hear how froggy I still am. Hopefully this will go away over the weekend. Because when we can make it work, there's going to be another special guest coming to Twitch. I'm really excited about this. It's somebody I met at PAX. His games are great. When I know when he's going to be joining us, it's going to be the other thing where I play through the game, and then the developer is going to be in chat so you can ask questions. I'm really super excited about this. So that's coming up. Hopefully I'll be able to announce something next week, and we'll get back on the horse. And if you have topic recommendations, there's been so much drama that I am overloaded. So I don't know what to talk about. So let me know. But thank you all for watching. Sorry about the hiatus. Sorry I sound so craptastic, but it'll heal, right? It'll heal. Okay, hugs to everybody. Somebody's crying because they're bored. I think it's Zelda. Okay, thanks for watching.